this is really good Star Trek.
Hi, and welcome to NERDIEST Prime. We are reviewing Star Trek Picard, Episode 4, No-Win Scenario, and let's get everybody's first impressions. Let's start with Alan.
Once again, I loved it. I will not even beat around the bush. It was so good, and it was even better than anything that's come before it already. And I even feel like this was a nice little chapter break or something. Yeah, it felt like a little wrap up for like the first act of a movie or something. So I was very happy with the character work in it and the action, and yeah, I just love this episode.
Well, I hated it.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I totally loved it. No, it was great. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about. It's just so good. This was what we wanted in the first season. In the second season, we're finally getting it now. I really feel like this was one of the best episodes of New Trek that I've seen in a long time, including Strange New Worlds. Including Strange New Worlds, I was really super into it. It just felt right. It felt a little bit more like Star Trek. It felt like a Star Trek movie, but at least it felt like Star Trek.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I didn't think it was as good as Episode 3, but kind of keeping the momentum of the third episode into the fourth episode. I really enjoyed it, and I kind of liked what you said, Namir, like the Star Trek-ness of it.
It felt like just a well-written episode, which I think we haven't really gotten in Picard. So I'm starting to get really excited, right? And we could talk about the actual details of the episode, but yeah, I don't even remember what the original question was. I'm just really excited to talk about this.
I'm falling on my chair because you're so enthusiastic. It's been 2 years of you just complaining and whining about every.
I know. I never know when he's serious or not because he's like, I hated it. And I'm like, he might mean it. Even though I thought this was really good, he might hate it. So, yeah. It's I never know how to take your sarcasm. I was sad when it ended. I was like, oh, this is so good. I just kept telling Maggie the whole time I was watching, like, this is really good Star Trek. I was like,
and she was like, I don't believe you. Why are you lying?
Not that she cares. She's just like scrolling, But I was like super into it. I was like, it felt like I was back in the 90s.
Yeah, it's finally the next generation again, and I find that Jonathan Frakes did a lot of heavy lifting in terms of the acting, and was kind of like almost like the star of this episode. And then on top of which he was directing, so he did a really good job in this episode.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think without Jonathan Frakes, it wouldn't be good, right? Jonathan Frakes really is the center of this show. Even though it's called Picard, he's the best part of it.
Yeah, he's definitely ready to take up the Picard mantle. Like, there's a torch passing here that could totally happen, and I'd be fine with it.
I was kind of disappointed that he was just, like Picard's son, right? There wasn't anything else. Although I think there is something else, we just don't know what it is. Yeah. There is something else, but I don't think it's like he's not a clone or he's not that kind of thing. A robot, yeah, exactly. Or like Picard's son from another dimension or something like that, right? It's just straight up, he's Picard's son, but there's something else going on. And actually, I think I have a theory about that. But
me too.
So
okay, I want to hear your theories. Let's go.
Okay, so my theory is that it's the Borg. There was something genetically passed down to Jack Crusher, and now the Borg Queen is calling him.
Okay. I don't believe your theory. Let's talk about your Alan's theory.
I think he's a changeling bioweapon, and I think it's going to be retribution for the Section 31 disease that they gave Odo to infect the Great Link with. That basically cost them the war in Deep Space Nine. So I think he's kind of the revenge. And he's going to be some sort of biological weapon. That's why they need him. They keep calling him an asset. And I think Vadik is a changeling. People think she just has a hand that's part changeling, but I think she's actually a changeling.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about Vadik as a changeling. Namir, do you think she's a changeling?
I think she has to be a changeling. She cut off her own hand. How can you only have... oh, I see what you're saying. Like, the hand is a changeling.
I think it's just... it was just changeling technology. Like, she was using her goop to contact using whatever device that was.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's what it is. It would be interesting if that little part of her was a changeling, but then that's some guy, right? That's just a changeling attached to her hand the whole time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I thought it was so weird, and I was going like, okay, so she's a changeling, but then there's a changeling inside of her as well. So it's almost like a multiple personality changeling or something. Yeah, I thought the whole like contractions, amniotic fluid things were a little cheesy, but I liked that they kind of threw in encounter at Farpoint basically in the middle of this episode. It came out of nowhere. There's like all these like jellyfish babies everywhere. I was like, okay, I'm going for it.
I was like, is this the origin of the encounter of Farpoint space jellyfish? Because I'm like, nobody says it, but I'm like watching this and I'm like, this is like an encounter of Farpoint jellyfish. I'm like, I don't understand why no one's saying it.
Well, and the funny thing is, he alluded to it early in the episode.
I know, yeah, they mentioned Farpoint mission.
But wouldn't the ship kind of like destroy a bunch of them running through them?
Yeah, they just slip off.
Yeah.
But no, I liked, because it finally felt like we're in Star Trek. We're seeing something, amazing in space, and I liked how that led into Riker's, revelation that there's so much beauty to be had, in the universe, and he had the reconnection with Troy, and I just felt like the human character work and having like a Star Trek type alien anomaly space thing happening. It was like, mwah.
And then they had a really cool technology angle as well with opening them themselves, and it was so cool because there was something always kind of. It's almost like they just solved a mystery finally, because the nacelles, the way they look like the Next Generation, they go like, why do they look like that? And then they opened them up and like, cause they look like almost like a vent.
Yeah, like an intake. Well, that's the Ramscoop, isn't it? Isn't that the Ramscoop, the Bazaar collectors?
Well, in the Next Generation nacelles, where they had the red tip and then they had the blue lights on the side. So
those LEDs were all something.
The blue ones on the side, that they opened it up, and it was just like, it was, again, it's like a whole, you're opening, you're going back to not the original Star Trek, but something in the past, and you're like giving it a layer,
Well, in Insurrection, they went to a strange new world. That's what you guys are always talking about. It's like, they don't visit any new planets.
No.
But now you want to see the same old aliens they already know. You can't have it both ways. I don't know what you want.
I want Strange New Worlds to be about Strange New Worlds, and I want the Next Generation sequels to be about Next Generation.
Well, I'm just saying overall Star Trek is supposed to be about exploring Strange New Worlds in general. Not specifically.
I guess... what I'm saying is that if there's a TV show, there's lots of room to try new things within the scope of the TV, especially the old TV shows where you had like 26 episodes a season. But then when you get a little like, you only get like a movie every 2 years, then I don't want to explore new things. I want you to like do First Contact, where you take an old thing and now finally you get to see it on the feature film scale.
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. Like, I think I understand what you're trying to say.
He wants retreads in his movies. He wants original material in the TV series.
The only point I'm trying to make was that the thing that I liked in this episode was that they were bringing back old things but giving them new twists. It wasn't just a rehash of something. And so they were doing some cool technical mumbo jumbo stuff, where crossing the wires and inverting the phase and all that sort of stuff. But they were doing a thing that we hadn't seen before.
Like, I could see a show with Shaw and Seven and having this sort of animosity, but still kind of doing their jobs and getting through the day-to-day operations of the ship and all their adventures together.
I'd only watch that show if it was Captain Seven, and somehow Captain Shaw got demoted and he was the first officer.
Oh, really? No, I think it should be Captain Riker, First Officer Seven, and then Engineer Shaw. Right? That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
I'd watch that in a heartbeat. And then Picard's like the elder statesman that they keep on ice and they pull out whenever they need him.
They just have him in a little torpedo tube, and they just put him in storage.
They bring him out on Captain Picard Day.
And put him into that little Captain Pike wheelchair. You just go beep beep. He wants to say yes, and
right.
Beep when he wants.
Except he's totally fine. He just chooses to use the button. He's like, "Can I die now?" "Not yet, old man. We still need you."
Do you want to start with your rating, Namir?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8, which is the highest rating I've ever given any episode of New Trek Picard ever. Not even season 2, episode 2 had an 8. I think that was a 7. This is an 8. An 8 in my books. Felt like finally the Next Generation back again with a good, solid story. Very exciting, great ending. I really liked it. Really liked it.
I'm reminded of that moment in the Grinch That Stole Christmas when his little heart breaks.
Yeah.
Or expands again.
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, my heart grew 3 sizes bigger.
You might want to get that checked out.
Yeah, it's probably cholesterol. I think it's yeah. I have a lot of salt in my diet.
Well, my heart only grew a little bit because I already loved last week so much. But it did grow, so I'm going to bump this one up to a 9 out of 10. And I'm still not at the 10 yet, but I really had a good time. I still need to see that it all leads to something, satisfying. But yeah, 9 out of 10 for this. It had nice clear arc for these episodes. I like, again, Jonathan Frakes is, okay, you're paying your bill. Right. my rating. Now you got to cut it up because I was distracted.
Oh, great. You're just making my job so hard now.
And go.
I will give this episode a 7 out of 10. I didn't like it as much as last week, but I liked it a little bit less, but I still enjoyed it a lot. So it gets one notch down.
Your heart shrunk a little.
Yeah, it shrunk a little, but because they expanded so much last week. Okay, there was nowhere to go, but
That's true. The first 2 episodes, your heart was like the size of a dime, like a little raisin in the middle of your chest. And then episode 3 went thump.
I was so happy in episode 3. I didn't realize how happy I could be again, and I could ever feel that way again about Star Trek.
I wonder if Shaw will take command again now, because Riker, he just wanted to give Riker command to get him out of that situation. He was injured, but now he's got like a little cane. He's feeling better. I wonder if he's going to take the chair back next week.
That was the one thing that I thought was odd. Like, I feel like with the technology that they had during that century, they should have just been able to repair it without any sort of occupational therapy. Right? Like, couldn't they have just
Beverly just waved something light over his leg and it would have been fine? Yeah.
It reminds me of that scene in Lethal Weapon 3 where Joe Pesci gets injured. So he gets a flesh wound from a gunshot, and then but they don't want to keep him in the hospital because they want him out of the way of the investigation. They don't want him in their hair, so they make up a reason why he has to stay in the hospital, and that's kind of like what they did. Like Riker called down to Crusher and said, like, can you just do something to keep him down there because I'm really enjoying this captain's chair.
Riker's like, just take the leg off. Just remove the whole thing. We'll put it back later.